We're live. Hi, welcome to the Unnamed podcast. I'm your host Josie. It's been a little bit. I'm sorry. It's been pretty hectic. I'm sorry for the delay. Sorry for a long wait. I'm gonna try and be more on top of it. But then again, I also have marching band, and that's a lot. That is quite a lot. But yeah. If you guys don't know who I am, my name's Josie. This is my podcast. I started off for a school project, kind of just carried on talking about stuff that I find interesting. Bunch of time it's hockey, but there's also some other topics that I find really interesting. This podcast, little bit of a forewarning, warning for everyone. This is going to be about more sensitive topics. This is a trigger warning. Talks about sexual assault, which is awful. I will make no jokes about it whatsoever. That's something that is awful and we need to take care of, which is kind of what I'm going to be talking about today. More specifically, sexual assaults and the NHL, because the NHL, oh my god, there is a lot going on. But before I begin, kind of just what I'm going to be doing during the podcast. First off, there's a lot of wires. I had to move a lot of things around. I'm using my dad's setup again. Though my laptop is fixed, I have a new fan. It's so nice. I don't have to listen to shrieking children anymore. But I'm still using my dad's setup because it's a lot nicer. He has like a curved monitor that's nice and large, and it's great for like using it to record. So that's what I'm going to be using for a bit. But it's kind of, I had to move a bunch of things around because I've been using it for work because COVID and everything, so he's been working from home a little bit. So yeah. Anyways, let me open up Google Chrome so I can know what I'm going to be talking about today. So today, what I'm really going to be talking about is there's a couple of things that have happened. First off, I'm going to be talking about Evander Kane, the ongoing saga with him, because it is an ongoing saga. Holy shit, man. It's just ever evolving. Second, I'm going to be talking about the Blackhawks. There might be like a small case or two that I might talk about if I remember, but I'm going to be talking about the Blackhawks, which is like one of the big stories that apparently like the NHL has just been like, whatever about. And then I will be talking about the what the Montreal Canadians decided to do, because actually something recently came out about that whole situation. So yeah, and while I'm talking, I'm gonna be doing my makeup, but you won't be able to see because faceless. Let's go. I have senior pictures today. I can't believe I'm a senior. It's ridiculous. I cannot believe it. It doesn't feel real. It's insane. So I need to get ready. But I also need to film a podcast. I said I was going to film a podcast today, and like my schedule, so that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm going to be filming, doing makeup. I might pause here and there. I probably will cut it out. Who knows? I need to go back and edit. So yeah, let's start. Actually, no, we should wait to that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm ass at makeup. It's great, but anyways, so let's start off with Evander Kane, the ever-evolving story of Evander Kane. It's just non-stop. It started off with, and this is how it was brought up to my radar as I was watching The Hockey Guy. If you guys haven't watched The Hockey Guy, also the Steve Dangle podcast, that's a podcast I really enjoy, and that's kind of what got me into thinking like, oh yeah, I might want to start a podcast, you know? The Hockey Guy does a bunch of, talks about hockey. And he kind of brought up when the Evander Kane situation with him being bankrupt. When that first came out, I saw it on the Hockey Guy's YouTube channel. And that's kind of what brought it into my radar. So, if you don't know what happened, Evander Kane, he likes to gamble. Likes to gamble a little too much, if you do say. So, because he's bankrupt now. Or he filed for bankruptcy. It's because he's been gambling a little too much, doesn't have the money, which just isn't smart, but it's like an addiction. And with all addictions, like, you need, like, it needs to be treated like an addiction to drugs. And unfortunately, the NHL doesn't do that because the NHL, when does the NHL do anything right? I swear to God. I mean, actually, no, they did do something right because they're allowing NHL players to play in the Olympics. Team Canada is fucking stacked. Holy shit. Also, follow me on Twitter. I speak a lot of my opinions there. It's a fun place. Yeah, so follow me there. I also have an Instagram now, so I'll link that below. So yeah. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So Evander Kane filed for bankruptcy because he was gambling a lot. He was getting sued by a bunch of the people where he borrowed money from because like he had a big contract because he's a good player. Anyways, so he got he filed for bankruptcy. I think at the beginning of 2021 was when he filed for it. I don't know the exact days. I don't have that up right now, but like that's a big thing, you know. I mean, I'm a fairly new hockey, like in-depth hockey fan, I would say. Before, like I was a fan of the Bruins because I live in New England, you know. But now, like I'm really starting to get like in depth. And this is like kind of the first I'm seeing it, but apparently it's more common than you'd think, especially among just sports players in general, because that's a lot of money to be handed to you right there. Because like if you're a good player, you get handed stacks of money. Like what's his name? The quarterback. I'm forgetting his name. I have him in my fantasy football draft. Yeah, the one from Kansas City. He got handed fat stacks of money. Because he's a good player, you know. He's a quality quarterback. So like, what do people do with that money? Sometimes they gamble it, and that can lead to just like you constantly want to earn it back and all that fun jazz. So he's filed for bankruptcy. And so that was a while ago. But then recently his wife, and I think they're in the middle of like a divorce or something like that. They're getting their house taken away. That's like the big thing. There, and they have like a young child. I think she's pregnant. But they're getting the house taken away, and she got really mad. And on Instagram, if you're a hockey fan, you've probably seen the story. Of she went on Instagram, her Instagram story, and she was like, "Hey guys, he's right now in Europe partying away with some mistress, leaving me to deal with the kids. I'm pregnant. The house is being taken away right now. He's leaving me with no money. I had to sell my wedding ring, engagement ring to get food for my baby, for the young children. I think she's either pregnant or is a newborn. I can't remember off the top of my head. But and he's out there partying with some mistress. And then she drops the bombshell like, oh yeah, no, he's been betting on his own games, which is illegal in the NHL because if you're a good enough player, you can throw a game to win money. And that's apparently what he was doing, which isn't good, you know? That means he's throwing games, costing like the team wins and stuff like that. Just overall, not a good thing. And there's a reason why in the NHL actually, like after that allegation came out, they were like they were looking into it, which is important. Because they need to, because it's a serious allegation, and I think if that does happen, he might be kicked out of the league. I don't know the full details on that, but yeah, but it's pretty serious. So that's like the major thing. Oh right, and now Evander Kane is filing for a restraining order against his wife, saying that she beats him. It's an ever evolving story. There is new things coming out pretty much like every month now, which is kind of insane. Not even. But also teammates have come out and said that they don't want him on the team. They wanted him to be traded away. They don't like him on the team, which is also pretty serious when you think about it. Like you have like some notable players on the Sharks who are saying we don't want him on the team. You know, he's not good for the locker room, etc. And that's pretty serious, you know, and you gotta start like looking at it. It's like you know, it's probably him at this point. All the signs are pointing back to him. What does that mean? It's probably him. So the NHL kind of has their hands full with that. They also have their hands full with the Blackhawks situation. But one last, thing to say about the Evander Kane situation. I'm just the NHL needs to care. Like, when there's something like that where, gambling is obviously part of the problem here. He's addicted to gambling. That kind of led him down this whole rabbit hole, I would think. That's what I've kind of gotten. So it leads to the question of, will the NHL do anything about someone who's addicted to gambling? Would they do anything for someone who's addicted to drugs? Because it's very similar, gambling and gambling is, again, as I said before, a form of addiction. It's something that needs to be taken care of. It's something that, kind of the mentality that I've gotten is, someone, when you go to a casino or something like that, you have money and you lose some money in some gambling games, so you want to get the money back. So you keep playing and playing and playing, but you're losing more and more money. So it's just an endless loop, an endless cycle. One thing that I've said, and I've heard some other people say too, is just either don't go gambling. I know, great solution. But also, when you go gambling, only bring a set amount of money. Don't bring any more. Because once you're all out of that money, okay, time to go home. We're not betting anymore, And I think he doesn't have that, and he's also a fairly young player, especially when this all started. Oh, this is probably muffling it. I'm sorry. I'm doing my makeup. I have the Tati Westbrook Tati Beauty palette. It's a gorgeous palette. I love the palette. May not like her because all that drama that happened. Who the fuck knows happened? But I really like the palette. The palette's gorgeous. If there's any females out there watching this, or anybody, not just females, anybody in general who likes makeup, if you want a makeup palette, get the Tati Beauty palette, Volume 1. Gorgeous. I love it. Great. Anyways, back to what I was saying, and I'll turn this way, so, I'm not covering. I don't know. Let me just quickly do this. There we go. But he's also a fairly young player, so people who are, on the younger side, it's they don't understand how to handle their money. And this is coming from someone who's 17 years old. I don't know how to handle my money too. Handling money is stressful. I would, sometimes I just want to spend on Valorant. The new battle pass, that sword. Oh, chef's kiss right there. Chef's fucking kiss. That is beautiful. Jaw dropping. I love it. Oh my god. I'm never gonna get it though. But anyways, back to what I was saying. But he was handed a lot of money, especially at such a young age. Do you think he knows how to handle it? No. I wouldn't know how to handle it, especially that much money. That much money? You gotta get some kind of advisor or something like that. But I think the NHL needs to set up something like a program where young people under the age of, who knows, actually, not just young people, anybody, so that there can be someone trustworthy that can help them handle their money. Common sense. But it's the NHL. What do I expect? Speaking of the NHL and common sense, one second, let me just do this. We're gonna move on to the Blackhawks. And now this is where I really start saying trigger warning, because this is really serious. What I'm going to be talking about now, talking about the Blackhawks, with the sexual assault stuff going on there. Again, and then moving on to, I think I'm going to talk about the Canucks player too, and the Montreal Canadians. It's some very serious triggering stuff. I think it's important to talk about, but it's also something where, if you have been affected by sexual assault, is that something that triggers you? Click off now. I don't want to cause you any harm. It's better, for your if your mental health will be better by clicking off, then do that. I understand what it's like to have low mental health. The past couple days can show that, but it's important to take care of your mental health, so click off. yeah, I'll give you a couple seconds. So yeah, as I finish up this. Anyways, the Blackhawks. So, if you don't know what's going on, so if you don't know who the Blackhawks are, they're a pretty notable team, organization, whatnot. They won, I think, 3 Stanley Cups in the past, like, 12 years or something like that. With, like, Patrick Kane, Corey Crawford, I think was one of them. The Duncan Keith, the one who's now going to the freaking Oilers. I can't speak. But yeah, so like, there's a lot of notable names. It's like they were one of the powerhouses of the NHL during the 2010 period. They were very good, very powerful, just overall great team. Patrick Kane is Patrick Kane, aka really good, you know, you know. So yeah. So what came out is that during the 2010 Stanley Cup run, which they won the Stanley Cup, 2 players were sexually assaulted by, I think the equipment manager. The one's like, let me look it up. Blackhawks sexual assault. Lawsuit. Yeah, and there's been a lot on this. Yeah, 2010 Stanley Cup run. Yeah, so Brad Aldrich, assistant coach. Former assistant coach. Yeah, so his name is Brad Aldrich. He sexually assaulted 2 Blackhawks players. Now, before I begin, this is something that I also had this, and this is a problem. I shouldn't have thought like this before. A lot, like, if you've ever heard the Me Too movement, the first thing that comes to mind is females standing up against them being sexually assaulted by notable figures, whether it be in politics, in the movie industry, music industry, whether it just be someone in their everyday lives who sexually assaulted them or sexually harassed them. The Me Too movement is a big movement. It's an important movement. And if you think otherwise, fuck you, okay? Sexual assault is a thing. Rape culture is also a thing, as shown by this case and other cases too. Rape culture does exist, and I'm talking to one kid in my seminar class last year who tried to convince a class of almost all females that rape culture doesn't exist. It does. It does. And I used to always think it's like, oh, it's just women. Women are like the primary, like women are the focus. No, men also get sexually assaulted too. And I think it's stupid to ignore that. And I was stupid to ignore that. I was really stupid to ignore that. But so in this case, 2 players on the Chicago Blackhawks 2010 team were sexually assaulted. I don't think their names are out there, nor do I want to put their names out there. It's a tough thing to even come out anonymously. Never mind like your actual name, because that like apparently John Doe 2, or the second person who didn't really want to come out, their life has basically been ruined, which is awful. And I hate that. I wish the world was more accepting and understanding and helpful to sexual assault survivors. But then again, this world also decided, cough cough, Texas, that we're gonna make abortion only legal if you're 6 weeks pregnant, and we're gonna have a line where, like, if you think someone had an abortion, you can sue them for like $10,000. Only supporting rape culture yet again. Anyways, so like, it's already had some serious repercussions, and like, let alone, like, imagine what like their personal lives are before even coming out, like the amount of like stress, and like the mental health that like just that it's just not good, you know. And I just wish it just wasn't a thing. One second, I'm just finishing up this. There we go. Looks good. looking good. Oh my god, my contact just shifted. Fuck. So yeah. So what happened? And you can go into the more graphic details if you wish. I'm not gonna go into like full detail. It's very disturbing. What's it called? I can Steve Dangle podcast, again, a great podcast. I really like that podcast. They go in depth about so many different topics and kind of where I really like heard about this case. But the Steve Dangle podcast did an episode solely on the Chicago Blackhawks, what's going on with the lawsuit and everything, and they go into more detail. Again, trigger warning if you're still here for some reason. But they went into deeper detail, and so does the lawsuit. I think it's public. You can look it up. But it's very disgusting. But basically, the premise is the Brad Aldrich, who's actually now a sex offender, like legally. After he was registered, after he worked for the Chicago Blackhawks. I'll go into that more later. But he brought them to his house. He was like, okay, it was supposed to be like to help them or something like that. And then he sexually assaulted them and threatened to beat them with a bat if they didn't comply, which is fucked up. I don't think, yeah, like, common sense. But then again, not everybody has that. People, I swear to God. But so, 1 second. I'm doing this. This is stressful. Why did I decide to do this at like the same time? I'm a dumbass. I swear. Anyways, so, it kind of like it happened. This happened before the Stanley Cup, like the finals, and apparently people in the locker room knew too, and were like joking about it. And I'll go more in detail later, like questioning like the people in the locker room then, like Patrick Kane, whoever else was there. I don't know that team that well. I just know Patrick Kane because Patrick Kane. He's like the notable figure. But so apparently they knew. They made gay jokes, which is disgusting. That is disgusting. And like sports in general, I mean, granted this one Nashville Predators player came out as gay and the community was very accepting, but in reality when you really look at it, sports like this aren't always the most accepting place of people who are of the LGBTQ community. People of color too, because if you look at hockey, it's primarily white. There are some black players, yes, but most of it's white. And you can also see it with how it's run. Most of it's white. And you can also see it how they dealt with the Black Lives Matter movement. Mostly white. Anyways, but they made gay jokes, some of the players, and some of the players, like notable players who don't have who are like either still in the league or not in the league, say they don't know anything about it. I call bullshit. The front office knew about it. Like some people came out later saying the people in the front office knew about it, which is like, wow. And I guarantee the players probably knew about it too, which is disgusting. Why didn't you come out and say something? I digress. But it just further shows just the Blackhawks did nothing about it. And then once they let go of Brad Aldrich, or however the fuck you pronounce his last name, they gave him a positive recommendation to go work someplace else. And then I think he sexually assaulted someone at that other place, and then got convicted as a sex offender. So yeah, he's now on the state's registry of sex offenders. WBEZ reports. So yeah, the Blackhawks knew or should have known about Aldrich's sexual misconduct based on the history of repeated misconduct with players in prior coaching positions. So yeah, I'm just going through the article. And it's sad that not many places talk about this. The NHL has kind of brushed over it, if you've seen. The Blackhawks did this ridiculous ass stunt at the draft, which more on the draft later because something else fucked up happened there. But they did this really ridiculous ass stunt where they brought all like the female employees that work there, they announced the person. I'm like, buddy, you're just making matters worse for yourself. And they've kind of just tried to deny the case, which is ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. People are dumb, I swear to God. Like, anyways. But, one sec, I'm just doing stuff. Here we go. So, the case as a whole, like, it's extremely fucked up. Like, it doesn't take a rocket science to say, like, this is fucked up. But do you think this is the first time it's happened? No, I think it's the first time it's something someone has spoken up, and it's so hard to speak up about sexual assault. It's so hard. And I can't imagine what, like, the John Doe 1, John Doe 2 are going through. It's ridiculous. Or John Doe 2. Okay. So second Blackhawks player, not John Doe 2. I'll make that correction on the screen. But because apparently John Doe 2, that's the 16-year-old, it was a 16-year-old hockey player who was sexually assaulted, which is also fucked up. Like, the thing that baffles me is the Blackhawks knew about this, yet they kept him around. The Blackhawks knew about him, what Aldrich did, yet they gave him a positive recommendation. The players knew, yet they didn't do shit. They did jack shit. That's what they did. To a high school. They gave him a positive review to a high school. Oh my God. And, like, the worst thing about, all of this is really bad. All of this is really bad. But the leaders, like, at the very least, the leaders in the players should have known, or probably knew about this. And I'm looking at Patrick Kane. Yet he said, "Oh, I know nothing. I know nothing." Bullshit. And Bowman, I think Bowman is the chairman of, head of the NHL. He said, like, we take this very seriously. I take this very seriously, but we have let the process play itself out. That's where things are today. We're going to let this play itself out. Which, oh my God. But also, like, there was a press conference, I think, before the draft or something like that. Or there was some kind of press conference, I forget when, where he joked about it. I think that shows how seriously they're taking this. They're not taking it seriously. The Blackhawks have tried to write off some of the trying to write off some of, like, the lawsuits, trying to get rid of it. Hasn't worked. But, like, I think it shows how seriously like the NHL and the Blackhawks are taking this, which they're not. I don't think they care. I think they're trying to brush it under the rug as soon as possible because it could bring negative reviews. It's awful, and it just shows, and it goes back to, like, the rape culture, conversation that I said, the rape culture thing I said earlier. It just kind of shows this culture that, not just in the NHL, and I can imagine it's even more widespread in the NHL than we all realize, but also, like, around the US, around the world, around sports in general. It just shows how much, like, rape can be taken as a joke. It's not serious, you know? The people who are victims, yeah, fuck them. We don't care. Like, it's ridiculous. And, like, the Texas law shows that the one that happened in the Supreme Court fucking backing it up. Like, it shows that they don't care, which is infuriating. One second, let me just turn on some lights. It's getting dark in here. Here we go. That looks better. Okay. But yeah, it's ridiculous, and I wish things were different. I think we all wish things are different, but there's not much we can do. I mean, there is stuff we can do, but like, it feels like sometimes sometimes you just feel like you have no control over it. And sometimes that's true, you have no control. But other times you can do something like vote. And this is vote for people who, will defend your rights. Because right now, for people like me, females, like, our rights are starting to get taken away because fucking Texas, I swear, Roe versus Wade, like, is overturned. I'm gonna lose my shit. Anyways, on to the next topic. That was kind of the Blackhawks, like a quick run through, I guess. My opinion, if you can't tell, I feel so bad for the players. I feel so bad anybody who's been sexually assaulted by Ultrage, anyone who's been sexually assaulted in general. I think the NHL needs to take it more seriously, if you couldn't tell already. And the Blackhawks need to take it more seriously. I think the players if the players aren't taking it seriously now, they need to take it more seriously. Granted, we probably don't know because they probably don't, like, publicize that out. But people need to take it more seriously. It's ridiculous that this is going under the radar, and it's gone under the radar for so long. It's baffling. But whatever, I guess. Whatever, as the NHL will say, whatever. Moving on. I'm gonna do like a quick thing on the there was a, what's it called? Vancouver Canucks player, who I think got bought out too. Which the Canucks kind of handled this better. They handled this good, I guess. I don't know. Like, it happened a while ago. I don't know the full details, but basically, I think it was Virtanen, I think was his name. He was accused of sexually assaulting a female. And so what's it called? Why am I forgetting? What the Vancouver Canucks is, they didn't play him after that. They kind of looked into it. I think there's a little more legal stuff going on. But I think he was bought out, didn't play, and I think that's a good way to handle it. People who sexually assault others, people who sexually abuse others, don't belong in a place where they can make money like people in the NHL can make money. They don't belong in the face of a team who's supposed to be for everyone. Because hockey's for everyone, right? Hockey's for everyone. My God. So yeah, that's kind of what I think they handle it well. Could they handle it better? I mean, can anybody handle everything better? Yes. Like, everything can be handled better. I had a situation actually recently where I could have handled something a lot better than I did. It was my fault. Should have handled it better. But I know now that is what I should have done. And I learned from that, I think other people need to learn too. That's kind of like a brief synopsis of that. It's sad. I hope the female is doing okay. Kind of just like you always want the best for the victim. So yeah. Now I'm just gonna quickly pause the recording so I can do lip liner because I can't do shit. Where's that? Yes, there we go. And I'm back. Sorry. I need to do lipstick for senior pictures. I'm gonna look so ugly. It's gonna go great. Let's go. So next I'm going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Cause holy fucking shit. Okay, I shouldn't be surprised. First off, before I begin, if you don't know what happened, here's a brief, quick synopsis that'll go more in depth as I go. Basically, there was a player in the NHL draft who was looking to be around like a first round pick, maybe second round. He was a decent player. I don't know the details of the draft. I don't really pay attention to the draft because that's just it's a lot that I don't have energy to pay attention to. I pay attention to a lot of things in hockey. That is not one of them. Because who knows if they're even gonna play, And usually it's like the first draft is the only part that's really publicized. And the rest is kind of like, oh, whatever. But you like look at some really good players now, and they were like later on in the draft. Anyways, so what happened? So the Montreal Canadiens, Marc Bergevin, who's the GM of the Montreal Canadiens, decided to draft this one person in the draft who renounced. First off, he renounced himself from the draft. Logan Mailloux, he renounced himself from the draft because he was accused of sexual assault. He basically, and he was convicted, actually, I think, of it. What happened is he was having an intimate moment with his partner or another female. I don't know if they were partners or not. And he took pictures and stuff like that she did not consent to and shared it with all of his friends and other people. Which isn't okay, because that is a form of sexual assault, because you're literally sharing images. You're basically sharing pornographic images without consent. Whoa, common sense. People lack it. People lack common sense. I don't understand why it's so hard. Oh my god. Anyways. So he was basically, this came out, and he put a statement out saying that he's not mature enough to be in the draft this year. He needs to work on himself. And he's renouncing himself in the draft. The NHL is one of the few places that actually you cannot renounce yourself in the draft. Even if you say you renounce yourself in the draft, you still can be drafted. Personally, do I think he should be in the NHL at all? No. But then again, I'm also kind of harsh in a way. I think it's just, why should... I mean, if he showed that he really matured, which he hasn't still, because he still hasn't apologized to the girl. If he showed that he really matured, he just wouldn't have done it. And also, apologized to the female that he hurt, which, again, he still hasn't done. Sorry, I'm playing with a Swiss Army knife that is on my dad's desk. So, yeah. He would apologize to the girl, which he hasn't. Still, even after he was drafted. So basically, the Montreal Canadiens decide, hey, yo, we're going to ignore this, and we're going to draft this motherfucker. So they drafted Logan Mailloux in the first round as the 31st pick, and then right after, the Blackhawks did the stunt I was talking about, where they brought all the female employees up there to announce the draft pick. Dumbasses. I swear, the Blackhawks organization. Dumbasses. And Marc Bergevin said, we're very proud to draft Logan Mailloux. Not like, he said we are proud, but I don't know the stuff afterwards, but he said we are proud. I'm proud. Why are you proud to draft a sexual assaulter? Buddy! Oh my god. People are dumbasses. Anyways. So, that kind of blew up on the internet. And one thing I'm going to say before I really go even farther in depth, well, kind of this is more in depth, but what's his name? Marc Bergevin, the GM of the Montreal Canadiens. And if you kind of know me in real life, or if you follow me on Twitter, or if you maybe listen to a podcast, I think I mentioned this before, I was low-key rooting for the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Finals. I was low-key rooting for them. First off, fuck the Tampa Bay Lightning, though they have been growing on me lately. I don't like it, because I'm a Bruins fan. I don't like that they're growing on me, but they're kind of growing on me. Because, first off, Andrei Vasilevskiy, he is insane. He is insane. Holy shit. He is the best goalie right now in the NHL. The best goalie. No doubt about it. Braden Point. That man was on fire during the playoffs. Minus I think the Stanley Cup final where he got really aggravated by Gallagher. But yeah. Anthony Cirelli, another insane player. Hedman, I think his first name's Victor Hedman. Yeah, something on that. Also, insane player. As much as I dislike the Tampa Bay Lightning as an organization, because I'm a Bruins fan, fuck the Lightning. Also Florida, why? they're a good team. There's a reason why they won the Stanley Cup back to back. They're a good team. But anyways, like, I was low-key rooting for the Montreal Canadiens because I wanted Carey Price to get a cup. He deserves a damn cup. Gallagher, great player, aggravating to opponents, which I think is incredible. Like, come on, get them off their game, you know? What's it called? Suzuki, insane. Like, just wow. So yeah, it was really like, it's low-key rooting for the Montreal Canadiens. That's all gone now. First off, Boston fan. Second off, what the fuck was Mark Bergevin thinking? What is he thinking? He worked with he was actually on the front end of the Blackhawks, or the 2010 investigation thing. The 2010 not investigation 2010 sexual assault case, and he claims to also know nothing, which I call some BS. Anyways, I call some bullshit. But he, so I'm not surprised that he dragged fucking Logan Mailloux. There's other good players out there too. But anyways, like, it's just baffling. Like, I'm baffled. Like, this man, not only is he, like, accused, he's been convicted. It happened. It happened. You know? He renounced himself, saying, yes, this did happen. You, by saying, like, we're gonna, like, he still needs to learn. No, by drafting him in the first round, you mean you're basically saying, fuck that, he doesn't need to learn. We're gonna bring you to this big organization that just went to the Stanley Cup Finals. We're gonna bring you to this organization. We're gonna give you all the tools to make it seem like you're reformed and you can play in the NHL. You know? It's just like, what? Along with that, they're like, yeah, you can play in the OHL league, which is also big, you know? You got drafted in the first round, which is huge, you know? Like, this man, look at you, instead of getting, you know, punished for his actions, he got rewarded. It's infuriating. But on the plus side, I was like, let me look this up. So I double check. He got indefinitely suspended by the OHL, which means he cannot play in the OHL indefinitely. For inappropriate conduct, which we all know. Yeah, we know why. So basically, yeah, the Montreal Canadiens are just digging themselves in a bigger and bigger hole. Am I necessarily surprised? It's the NHL at this point. Anything can fucking happen, and people can just the Bowman top dude commissioner can bat his eye and be like, ah, whatever, on to the next. You know, at this point, it's ridiculous. I don't think he should have ever been drafted, ever. I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to be in some dog water for a bit. Also, another baffling fact that I saw is that multiple teams were interested in him. What? Like, you're going to ignore that he sexually he spread images of a woman without her consent, still hasn't apologized to her, from what I know, to this day. Admitted, yes, I did that, has basically been convicted yeah, he did that. And you're gonna just be like, whatever, we're gonna bring him to the team. We're gonna reform him, you know, we're gonna reform, quote unquote, reform him. Basically do nothing. It's crazy. Like, I feel like the NHL, like, I'm losing my mind more and more each day with the damn NHL. Oh my god. Just, oh my god. Yeah. I think sports leagues in general, a bunch of them just don't take stuff like this seriously. Like, looking at the NHL, like, a lot has happened Like, the Blackhawks stuff, that came out, like, the past year. Logan Mailloux thing, that happened this year. The Jake Virtanen thing, I think that's his name, happened, like, in the past, like, year or two. Like, it shows, yeah, this has been happening possibly for a lot probably for a lot longer, too. It's probably been happening for a lot that just hasn't come out. For example, like the Blackhawks thing, it only just came out. That happened over, like, 11 years ago. Like, a lot, it's just, I think the NHL needs to fix their shit. They cannot claim that hockey is for everyone and then have people who have sexually assaulted others in the league and try to silence sexual assault victims. They cannot say hockey is for everyone and then apparently have players say gay insults to people who have been sexually assaulted on the team. I mean, yeah, having a gay player now on the, like, especially if you haven't seen the Nashville Predators, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, that's good and all, and that's showing, yeah, hockey can be for everyone, but, like, I don't, like, do we, I don't know if I completely think that everything behind the scenes will be okay, you know? Like, yeah, times have changed. Yeah, it's 2021. But fuck shit has been happening in 2021. Can't you tell? Like, we're still allowing sexual assaulters in the league. It's baffling. Anyways, I think that's gonna be all today. I'll probably, I don't know, my next podcast will be on. If you have any recommendations, send it to me on Twitter or on Instagram, Josie_elite. You can, I also think I have my email on here. I need to open that up because I probably have gotten something. But yeah, you should follow my Twitter. I tweet a lot of funny stuff. I also follow some funny people, like someone who literally says #sex after every single thing. But shush. But I might be a little more inactive. But I mean, I'll still probably be, no, at this point, just as inactive because I have marching band. That's pretty busy. I have senior year, pretty busy. I have to go to college soon. I have to apply to college. Oh my god. But I should be able to film more. Hopefully, should be some fun stuff coming. I'm excited. Thank you all for watching. I understand today's a serious topic, but I needed to talk about it. I needed to get, like, my thoughts off my chest. Also, I think it's important to continue this discussion that I think has just been dying down recently, because it's fucked. I think the NHL, hold the NHL accountable. So yeah, that's all for today. Have a nice day, everybody.